Picture this. You wake up, check your blood sugar, and it's higher than you'd hoped. Again. You haven't even taken a bite, and yet the day already feels like a climb. Here's the twist: most people over 60 never hear from their doctor. Your breakfast decides whether your glucose shoots up or stays steady for the next several hours. With 7 simple breakfasts designed specifically for older adults with diabetes, no fancy ingredients, no chef skills required, you can flatten those spikes this week. Each one takes 5 to 10 minutes, includes real protein, real fiber, and a touch of healthy fat for staying power, and this is the part almost no one tells you: the order you eat them matters. If you start your meal with a few bites of vegetables, follow with protein, and save any starch for last, your post-meal curve can look calmer without you giving up the foods you love. Give me your first 10 minutes of the day and I'll help you set up your glucose for the next 24 hours. Let's start with why morning numbers often climb after 60, even when you're trying. 2 things team up against you. The first is the dawn phenomenon. In the early hours before you wake, your body releases hormones to get you ready for the day: cortisol, growth hormone, a little adrenaline. They tell your liver, send fuel, and your liver obliges by putting out extra glucose. The second is that most of us carry less muscle than we did in our 40s. Muscle acts like a sponge for glucose. It soaks up sugar from the blood and stores it safely. Less muscle means a smaller sponge, so the same breakfast can cause a bigger rise. None of this is your fault, and none of it means you're stuck. It does mean that your first meal is a lever you can actually pull. Use the P.F.F. rule: protein, fiber, and a healthy fat source, and then stack the deck with the right eating order and a short 10 to 15-minute stroll afterward. Protein in the range of 20 to 30 grams turns on your muscles and steadies appetite hormones. 8 to 12 grams of fiber slows digestion so glucose trickles in rather than pours. A small touch of fat, think olive oil, avocado, nuts, or seeds, keeps you satisfied and helps absorb fat-soluble nutrients. Put those together and breakfast stops being a glucose roller coaster and becomes your built-in stability plan. I want you to feel safe while you make changes, so let's be clear. Nothing here replaces your medications. If you use insulin or a sulfonylurea, eating more protein and fiber and less starch can lower your post-meal numbers enough that your usual morning dose might be too much. That can be good news, but it means you should monitor 1 to 2 hours after you eat and coordinate any medication adjustments with your clinician. If you take anticoagulants like warfarin, keep leafy greens consistent day to day so your dosing stays accurate. You don't have to avoid them, you just have to be predictable. If you live with chronic kidney disease, be mindful of potassium from avocado, legumes, and flax, and review portions with your care team. If reflux bothers you, favor savory options, keep acids like lemon or vinegar lighter, and avoid very strong coffee on an empty stomach. Safety is not a footnote, it's the foundation for results you can trust. Here's exactly how to use this over the next 7 days. Each morning, drink a glass of water right after waking. Just a modest glass to wake up your digestion. Make your coffee or tea unsweetened. If you need creaminess, choose a small splash of milk or an unsweetened alternative. Pick one breakfast from the 7 I'm about to describe. Eat vegetables first when they're part of the plan. Even 3 or 4 slices of cucumber with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of salt if you tolerate acid. Then move to your protein-rich main, and save any bread, oats, or fruit for last and in smaller portions than you used to. When you finish eating, set a timer and walk for 10 to 15 minutes. You don't need a power walk, you need movement. Jot down your portion, the time you ate, your glucose at 1 to 2 hours afterward, and a quick note on energy and fullness. At the end of the week, repeat the 2 breakfasts that gave you the best numbers and the best mornings. You're not guessing, you're learning your own body. Let's build your 7 options, step by step, in the same clear voice your glucose listens to. Imagine starting with a green anti-spike omelet. You take a few bites of crisp cucumber with a splash of lemon to wake up your mouth and line your stomach with a little fiber and water. Then your pan is already warm with the lightest brush of olive oil. You whisk 2 eggs with a pinch of salt and black pepper, toss in a big handful of chopped spinach or finely sliced kale, and add a few sliced mushrooms. The eggs set, the greens wilt, and you fold in a spoonful of cottage cheese or ricotta just before you slide it onto a plate. In 5 minutes you have about 22 to 25 grams of protein, a gentle flow of fiber, and a meal that tastes like a real breakfast. If you want a small starch afterward, keep it tiny, a half slice of dense whole grain or rye eaten at the very end, not the beginning. If you take warfarin, keep the leafy green portion consistent. This isn't the day for a mountain of kale followed by days without any. If reflux bothers you, keep fats modest and skip heavy frying. A lightly coated pan is enough. The order remains the same. A few bites of vegetable, the protein-rich omelet, and only then a small starch if you need it. On another morning, maybe you want something cold, creamy, and fast. Greek yogurt with chia, walnuts, and cinnamon is your 5-minute friend. In a bowl, drop in a single-serve plain Greek yogurt, about 170 grams. Stir in a tablespoon of chia seeds and a tablespoon of chopped walnuts, then dust with cinnamon. If you love fruit and your numbers allow, add a 1/4 cup of berries. The portion matters here. That bowl delivers 20 to 25 grams of protein and roughly 8 to 10 grams of fiber once the chia absorbs liquid, and the walnuts give you the satisfying crunch and healthy fats that make a bowl feel like a meal. If dairy isn't your friend, swap in plain kefir or a lactose-free option. If you prefer plant options, consider a high-protein unsweetened yogurt and check the label for actual protein, not just marketing. Skip honey and syrups, they undo the purpose. Eat a few cucumber slices first if you want to honor the vegetable first rule. Then the yogurt bowl. Then stop. You'll be surprised how long you stay full when the protein and fiber are real. There will be mornings when only bread feels like breakfast. You can have it. The trick is choosing the right kind, cutting the portion, and not letting it lead the parade. Build an open-faced rye or 100% whole grain slice with avocado and a poached or scrambled egg. Start with a mini salad, 3 or 4 cucumber rounds or a few bites of tomato with a drizzle of olive oil. Chew slowly. Then toast a single slice of dense bread, not soft white, not multigrain, that's mostly fluff, real rye or a clearly labeled 100% whole grain. Mash half an avocado and spread a thin layer. Sprinkle a pinch of salt and lemon if you tolerate it. Top with 1 egg. Poached if you like elegance, scrambled if you like speed, and finish with a few leafy things on top for crunch. You just combined dense grain, healthy fat, and protein into a smaller release breakfast. If you live with kidney disease or high potassium, keep the avocado portion modest and check with your clinician about your ideal serving. If gluten is not your friend, choose a gluten-free bread that's still low glycemic and rich in whole grains or seeds. Skip the refined starch, white, gluten-free loaves that act like cake in your bloodstream. The order rule still rules. A few bites of vegetables, the avocado egg toast, and then you're done. Sometimes a warm bowl calls your name, and you might be tempted by sweet oatmeal with banana and honey. That's a glucose slope. Instead, make a savory protein oat. Think of it as an avioto. In a small pot, simmer 1/3 of a cup of old-fashioned oats or oat bran in water or a little homemade broth. When it thickens, stir in a beaten egg so it ribbons through and lifts the protein. Then fold in finely chopped zucchini or small cauliflower bits that cook in under a minute. Finish with a teaspoon of olive oil, black pepper, and maybe a spoon of cottage cheese, ricotta, or even a bit of canned tuna if you like a hearty bowl. In one pot you'll hit your 20 to 25 grams of protein and give yourself fiber without the sugar ambush. If oats tug at your reflux, keep the seasonings gentle. If you need gluten-free, use certified oats. Taste the difference between comforting and cloying, and notice your meter agree. For mornings when you crave the feel of pancakes but not the blood sugar cliff, a no-sugar almond pancake saves the day. Whisk 2 eggs with a few tablespoons of almond flour and enough water to make a pourable batter. Cook it like a small pancake in a lightly oiled pan, patiently, because almond flour likes a lower heat. Top with a dollop of cottage cheese or ricotta and a dusting of cinnamon. If you want fruit, slice 1 or 2 strawberries, not a pile, and place them on top so your tongue gets the idea without your glucose paying the price. This gives you 20 to 25 grams of protein depending on your cottage cheese and keeps starch low without feeling like you ate a brick. Eat slowly and sip unsweetened coffee or tea. If you have a nut allergy, skip this one and choose another option. If you're watching calories closely, remember that almond flour is richer. Small and satisfying is the goal, not a stack. There will be days when you want to drink breakfast, but you've learned that juice is sugar and most smoothies are dessert in disguise. You're going to make a dense protein smoothie that you can eat with a spoon, not slurp like a soda. In a blender, add an unsweetened milk or alternative, a real protein source, whey, egg white protein, ricotta, or silken tofu for a vegan version, a handful of spinach, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, and a handful of ice. Blend until thick and pour into a bowl. Eat it with a spoon so your brain registers a meal, not a drink. You're aiming for 25 to 30 grams of protein and 8 to 10 grams of fiber. You'll notice there's no banana here. It's delicious, but it turns a flat curve into a hill. If you live with kidney disease, be mindful of potassium from spinach and flax and coordinate with your clinician. If you're dairy-free, the tofu or a high-quality plant protein powder can step in. This bowl keeps you steady until lunch without making you sleepy mid-morning. And then there's the savory option that loves vegetables. A tofu scramble with vegetables and a spoon of beans for staying power. Crumble firm tofu into a warm pan brushed with a little olive oil. Season with turmeric for color, black pepper, and a pinch of salt. Add chopped bell pepper, onion, and spinach, and cook until soft and fragrant. Right at the end, stir in a 1/4 cup of cooked beans or even a little bit of their cooking liquid for a tiny dose of resistant starch. Serve with a small side of raw salad, 3 minutes of nibbling greens first, then enjoy the scramble. You'll hit 20 to 25 grams of protein easily, keep fats modest, and discover that vegetables at breakfast make the rest of the day easier. If beans give you gas, cook them very tender and start with a smaller portion. Your gut will adapt. If you're watching sodium, use low-salt beans or rinse canned beans thoroughly and season lightly. Now let's talk about what not to put in your morning if you want lower glucose fast. Skip fruit juice. The body treats it like liquid sugar, even if the label says no added sugar. Skip white bread, muffins, pastries, sweet granolas, and flavored yogurts that hide several teaspoons of sugar in a tiny cup. Be careful with vitamin smoothies that blend banana, honey, and milk into a glucose bomb. Leave chocolate milk and sweet spreads like honey and jam off your weekday plate. It's not that these foods are banned forever. It's that your first meal should be a signal of stability. When breakfast is steady, your next meal is easier, your cravings shrink, and your numbers tell the truth. There are 3 accelerators that make all 7 breakfasts work harder for you without making breakfast feel like a chore. First, order. Take 3 to 5 minutes for a few bites of vegetables before the main: cucumber, a small tomato salad, even a handful of lightly dressed greens if your stomach tolerates it. That simple vegetables first move slows gastric emptying and makes the whole meal absorb more evenly. Second, if reflux isn't a problem, add a gentle acid to those vegetables, a squeeze of lemon or a teaspoon of vinegar, plus a teaspoon of olive oil. The fat helps with satiety and the acid can soften the glucose rise for some people. If reflux is part of your life, go easy or skip the acid and lean on herbs and olive oil for flavor. Third, movement. Take a 10 to 15-minute walk or putter around the house. Make the bed, sweep the kitchen, water the plants, right after you eat. Even mild movement makes your muscles sponge up glucose while the meal is still being digested. Think of it as the last step of breakfast. Let's weave these ideas into a simple 7-day protocol so you don't have to think on your feet at 7 a.m. On day 1, make the green anti-spike omelet. Start with cucumber slices, then the omelet, then a tiny starch if you want it. Walk your 10 minutes. Check your glucose at 1 to 2 hours and write down how you feel. On day 2, take the Greek yogurt bowl with chia and walnuts. Eat it slowly, maybe with a few vegetable bites first if that feels good, and measure again at the same interval. On day 3, enjoy the open-faced rye with avocado and egg. Remember, 1 slice, not 2, and leave the bread for last after your mini salad. On day 4, cozy up with the savory protein oats, egg stirred in, vegetables folded, olive oil on top. On day 5, have the almond pancake with cottage cheese. Eat with intention rather than speed. On day 6, make the dense protein smoothie bowl and commit to using a spoon. On day 7, craft the tofu scramble with a tiny spoon of beans and a side of raw salad you nibble first. Every day, drink that first glass of water, keep coffee or tea unsweetened, move after you eat, and write your portion, time, 1 to 2 hour glucose, energy, and satiety. At week's end, circle the 2 breakfasts that gave you the lowest post-meal number and the longest stretch of calm energy. Those become your weekday anchors. Because you're an individual, not a template, let's personalize a bit. If mornings are rushed, pre-chop spinach and mushrooms for the omelet and keep them in a container so they slide straight into the pan. If you're often on the go, pre-portion chia and walnuts in small jars and keep single-serve yogurts in the fridge. The bowl takes 30 seconds. If bread is your love language, invest in a dense rye or sprouted whole grain loaf. Slice and freeze it so you can pull 1 piece at a time and make peace with the single slice. If you share breakfast with someone who wants sweet oats, make your savory pot and let them add fruit to theirs. You're not obligated to follow someone else's glucose curve. If chewing is hard in the morning, use the smoothie bowl with a spoon and add a side of cucumbers for the vegetable first nudge. If you're plant-based, the tofu scramble and smoothie bowl with tofu can carry several mornings each week, while the savory oats and avocado egg toast rotate in as you like. You might be wondering how much to expect from 1 week. For many people, the first change is how the body feels. Less mid-morning sleepiness, fewer cravings at 10 o'clock, and a steadier mood. On the meter, you'll often see 1 to 2 hour post-breakfast numbers come down first. After a few mornings, fasting numbers can begin to soften as sleep improves and the body trusts that breakfast won't be a sugar flood. If you use a continuous glucose monitor, you may watch your morning mountain shrink into a hill and then a gentle rise. It's not magic, it's the physiology of protein, fiber, pacing, and a short walk. Let me give you a vivid morning so you can feel it before it happens. You wake, drink a glass of water, and open the curtains to let in the light. You slice a cucumber and squeeze a little lemon, just enough to brighten, not enough to bite if reflux is touchy. You sit, chew slowly for a minute, and breathe. Your pan warms. 2 eggs, a handful of spinach, sliced mushrooms. The omelet takes shape. You fold in a spoon of ricotta. You eat not hurried. You leave the half slice of dense rye for last and decide you don't actually want it today. You lace up your shoes and walk around the block, or you tidy the kitchen and carry laundry to the machine. 10 minutes of motion and you're done. 90 minutes later you check your number. It's Kinder. Noon comes and you realize you haven't opened the pantry twice already. Dinner feels easier because you didn't start the day on a blood sugar seesaw. Safety, again, because a win is only a win if it's safe. If your 1 to 2 hour numbers are falling much lower than usual and you're on insulin or a sulfonylurea, that's your cue to talk to your clinician about dose timing or amount. If you take warfarin, keep leafy green portions steady across the week. Your care team can keep your dose steady when your intake is steady. If you have chronic kidney disease, prioritize lower potassium options like the yogurt bowl, the omelet with more mushrooms than greens, the almond pancake, and the savory oats with zucchini rather than spinach, and check portions of avocado and beans. If reflux speaks up, favor the savory bowls and omelet, back off strong coffee on an empty stomach, and keep acids gentle. None of these are barriers. They're dials you adjust so the same plan fits your body. Let's answer a few what-ifs so you feel ready in real life. What if you wake with no appetite? Start with a half portion, half the omelet, half the yogurt bowl, and a short walk afterward. If your numbers spike when you delay breakfast, a small protein-first snack early, like a hard-boiled egg or a few spoonfuls of yogurt, followed by your full breakfast later, can smooth the curve. What if you have to eat on the road? Carry a single-serve Greek yogurt, a small bag of walnuts, and a cucumber you can slice with a plastic knife. It's not glamorous, but it's better than a gas station muffin. What if family brunch is pancakes and fruit? Eat a small salad first. Yes, at brunch. Then order eggs and bacon or a veggie omelet. Take 2 bites of the pancake at the end if you truly want it, and walk afterward. You're not saying no. You're saying not first, and not much. What if you've always had fruit in the morning? Move fruit later in the day, after a protein-rich lunch, when your body is more ready. If you must have fruit early, keep it to a small portion of berries and eat it after your main, not before. Keep your kitchen friendly to the plan. Put olive oil, pepper, and a small jar of vinegar near the cutting board. Pre-wash greens, keep mushrooms ready, and store cottage cheese where you see it. Slice cucumbers the night before if mornings are not your best time. Freeze bread in single slices. Keep chia and walnuts in small jars. Put a sticky note on your coffee maker that says, "Veg first." Protein. Twak. You're building a habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. The reward is how you feel and what your meter tells you. It helps to track, but don't turn it into homework. A tiny notebook on the counter with 3 lines per day is enough. What you ate and in what order, your 1 to 2 hour number, energy and fullness. After 7 days, flip back through and look for patterns. You'll see that the savory oats held you longer than you expected, or the smoothie bowl kept you steady on the day you rushed, or the toast breakfast worked when you kept it to 1 slice and remembered vegetables first. Circle 2 winners and repeat them next week. Consistency builds results. By now, you can feel the rhythm. You wake, you hydrate, you lead with vegetables, you eat real protein and real fiber, you keep a small starch for last if at all, and you move your body for 10 minutes. You repeat that arc for 7 days and watch your curve soften. This isn't punishment, it's precision. It's not eating less, it's eating smarter at the time of day when your body needs help the most. It's breakfast as a tool. If you're ready to begin tomorrow morning, choose your first 2 breakfasts now so you don't have to decide when you're hungry. Maybe it's the omelet on day 1 and the yogurt bowl on day 2. Or the savory oats then the open-faced toast. Lay out the pan, put the yogurt at the front of the fridge, slice the cucumber tonight. You are building a path of least resistance toward a steadier morning. One last reminder and a nudge. Your age is not the problem. Your biology is responsive. Protein, fiber, and a touch of fat, eaten in the right order and followed by a few minutes of motion, change your curve in hours, not months. You are not chasing perfection. You are trading a handful of small, repeatable choices for a day that feels clearer and kinder. If numbers drop too low and you use insulin or a sulfonylurea, that's a success to manage with your clinician, not a failure. If reflux flares, choose the savory and gentle options. If potassium matters, keep portions aligned with your care plan. You are in the driver's seat. It's not about eating less, it's about eating better at the start of your day. Protein, fiber, and the right order change your curve. Pick 2 of these breakfasts and repeat them for 7 days. Write down your 1 to 2 hour numbers and see how your mornings change. When you're ready to amplify the results even more, there's a perfect next step waiting for you. To wake up even more stable tomorrow, watch the video 10 Fruits That Lower Glucose in 24H. 99% of diabetics don't know. Pair those fruit strategies with your anti-spike breakfast and let your day start steady and stay steady.